Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me for today's webinar. My name is Dylan Fisher. I am one of the regional sales managers here at McCormick Systems. Today, I'm taking you through a quick demonstration on the estimating and takeoff software, specifically for plumbing and mechanical contractors. We handle MEP trades, but again, today I'm taking you through the plumbing and mechanical estimating and takeoff software. If you don't know much about McCormick, look us up. We've been in the business for over 40 years, so we've definitely got a good handle on this. We've got a great reputation in the industry. We are recognized as leaders in the industry of estimating software. We are a foundation software company. We offer outside, again, today's focus is estimating and takeoff, but we also have direct integration with foundation for accounting, project management. There's a lot of software solutions that we can connect with and tie into. I'm going to take you through just a quick presentation today. We usually offer live online demonstrations. So for any of you who have interest in learning more about the software and whether you have questions afterwards or you'd like to take a closer look at it, please don't hesitate to reach out, give us a call. Send us an email. We can always schedule a time to discuss options in more detail and or take you through a full online demonstration in which we would spend typically about an hour to an hour and a half with you on this. But again, just a quick preview. I'm going to take you through our simple 5-step process, beginning here with step 1, job. So these are the 5 steps we're gonna touch on today. McCormick is an all-in-one estimating and takeoff solution, starting with the digital plans all the way through to the proposal. We kick out an automatic proposal at the end. We're starting with the job screen. So the first thing we see when we log into McCormick is these are all the jobs I've at least started in McCormick or completed. I can open up any job here to finish it, to review it, to make changes to it. I can open up a job and start handling change orders. Many reasons why I might come back to a job and open it up. We're typically doing that, or we're starting a new job. I'm going to show you a job that's got a bit of a start to it. This 149 West Boston renovation. So it's in process. I'm going to show you the details on it. This is what we call the job information screen. So this is step 1. Step 1 is we're going to name the job, and then we can type in details if we want to. It's mostly customer information, phone numbers, emails, addresses. All that's really required here is a job name. If we do fill in these details, we won't have to worry about it later. It's going to populate automatically into the reports, into the proposals at the end. Down at the bottom, we have a few tabs. So we've named the job, we've typed in some details, and now there's a spot here to add notes. Obviously, this is optional, just a little notepad here. The last tab is where we add the digital drawings. We accept any type of digital image file, PDFs, TIFFs, JPEGs, anything like that. We give you the ability to organize your sheets into folders. These are just example folders here. Maybe I'm coming back to add some revisions. I want to keep those separate from the originals. I'm going to right-click to add a new folder. Of course, I can name the new folder whatever I want. Now, to add the actual drawings, we just hit Add Drawings here. That opens up our computer storage. So now I just have to find the drawings on my computer, on my network, wherever I happen to have them stored. I can select a single file or several files and hit open. McCormick will pull the plans into this preview mode. So the main purpose for this, many times you might receive a single file and it's a combined set of plans. This is going to separate the file into individual sheets automatically. And now we can preview them. We can zoom in and essentially just choose the sheets we want here. So if I just needed these 2 sheets here, I could use the import selected option. I'd be leaving the rest behind. Otherwise, there is an import all option. I'll go ahead and click on that. That just brought all the sheets in. These plans are now attached to this job in McCormick forever. They're copied in. So even if I delete the plans from my computer, from my network, wherever I pull them from, I'm always going to have them here in McCormick attached to this job. No limitations in McCormick in terms of how many jobs you can create and manage at one time. No limit on how many plans we can attach to each of these jobs. Again, we accept any type of image file. We do recognize file names, file formatting, thumbnails. Of course, you can make changes here in McCormick after the fact. We can rename sheets, we can color code them, we can move them to different folders. But in a nutshell, that is step one of McCormick. Name the job, type in details if you want to, add drawings. The next step is what we call labels. All right, so step two. Labels is where we can break the bid down into pieces. So, of course, this is an example job. This is how I chose to break down this job here. I did it by areas, by floors. I want to break out on the underground, on the first floor, second floor, and third floor. So these are the breakouts I want to manage the bid better, to manage a job better when I win it. I can see a material list for each area. I can see how many, I can see material cost, material list, hours for each area here. In the first column, I skipped this one. I'm coming back to it now. Each label here in the first column represents a separate price. So in my example job here, I've got a base bid and I've come back to do a few change orders. Maybe I'm coming back to do change order 4. Well, it all starts here with a label. So each one of these labels in the first column, they're gonna work through the rest of the 5-step process the same way. We're gonna end up with a base bid and 4 change orders in the final step in the bid summary. So base bid, options, change orders, again, every label here represents a separate price within the job folder, including change orders. Okay, so labels allow you to create multiple prices within a job folder and or area breakdowns, system breakdowns, phases, whatever you want. The next step is Takeoff. This is where we account for material. So the first thing I like to point out when I get to Takeoff are the labels. So they came over to Takeoff. It's now a drop down. Okay, and the labels shown at the top of the screen, that's what we call the active label set. So right now, I'm working on base bid underground. Down here at the bottom, we call this the audit trail. This is our receipt in Takeoff. This records everything we do here. You'll see there's already some material in the audit trail. This is material I've already taken off for the underground, for base bid underground. I'm gonna switch to a different area. I'm gonna start working on floor 1. You'll see I have an empty audit trail here. I haven't done any Takeoff for floor 1 yet. So now, really, on the most basic level, my job is to get the material into this audit trail. There's a couple ways to do that. We can do what's called manual entry Takeoff. That's where we just select parts from the database and type in quantities. So if for some reason we don't have digital drawings, or maybe we did a job walk and came up with the material list that way. One way to get material into the audit trail is just to select the part, type in a quantity. So I'll show you that first, and then I'll open up the drawing. Let's talk about the database for a moment here. We have a very nice starting point in terms of a pre-built plumbing and mechanical database. There's an items database and there's an assemblies database. Okay, I'm gonna start in the items database. We cover residential, commercial, industrial. There's a ton of material here. Again, we're gonna use a menu to navigate it. So the way this works is we're starting with a general category here in the first column. As we work through the columns, it narrows down the search. I want plastic pipe. I want schedule 40 DWV. I want a Y. I want a reducing Y. So you'll see how it narrows it down. As soon as I select the last option in the menu, it takes me to that section of the database. So now I can choose the size I want. I want a 4x2Y. As soon as I select the part in the database, and this is true for items or assemblies, we're gonna find the part, we're gonna select it. It's gonna turn blue, showing that the part is active. So it's ready to be taken off. Again, if I'm doing manual entry Takeoff, if I don't have digital plans, I would just type in the number on my keyboard and hit enter. Very simple. That's basic manual entry Takeoff. I want a different part now. I go back to my menu. So I still want PVC DWV, but I want pipe this time. Here's my list of different pipe sizes. I want 4-inch, I want 100 feet of that. Okay, so manual entry takeoff is pretty simple. Now, I'm going to review this item for you and just talk briefly about the information built in. This is really the meat and potatoes behind an estimating program, material pricing, labor hours. So McCormick gives you 4 levels of material cost to start. There are many ways to manage material pricing in McCormick. Essentially, we can do it any way that's available. It's up to you as the user. But we do start you off with 4 levels. And then we do start you off with 3 levels of labor. We have bid labor that comes from McCormick, change order labor, that's just a multiplier off of the bid labor. We also give you Harrison publishing house labor. That's a published labor unit. It's very much like an MCAA or PHAC. You'll see that I do have placeholders for PHAC and MCAA. That does require a subscription to Harrison to get those pumped into the system. And of course, you need to be a member to get those as well. All right, so again, that's kind of the meat and potatoes. This is built into all the parts. I'm not picking anything here in Takeoff. I'm not even paying attention to this. I'm just getting material into the audit trail. Just looking ahead for a moment, when we go to the next step, when we go to extension, we can extend our Takeoff by whichever combination of price and labor we want. So on my base bid, I'm going to use price 1 and bid labor. Best price, best labor. Perhaps when I come back to do a change order add, maybe I want to hide some markup into my units. I might use price 2 and Harrison on that, or price 2 and change order. So that's the purpose of having different levels for different scenarios like that. All right, now I'm going on to the assemblies database. Same process to navigate the assemblies database. Let's go with, I want that same pipe. I want schedule 40, but I'm installing with Clevesingers and C-clamps, so let's select that option here. I want the same size 4-inch. Now, again, I'm in the assemblies database now. I've selected 4-inch. When we hit this, when we open up a side window, it will show all of the items that make up the assembly. So if I was to take off another 100 feet of this assembly, I'm getting more than just pipe now. I'm getting everything else I need to install it. I'm getting couplings and glue and thread rod and Clevesingers and C-clamps down to the washers and nuts and bolts. Everything's included. Now, again, the audit trail is tracking everything we do. I know what was taken off. I know whether it was an item or an assembly, the quantity. I can see the user that did the takeoff, date and timestamp here, and then the M stands for manual entry. Essentially, we're tracking who took it off, when they took it off, and how they took it off. This is kind of cool. If it's an assembly, and you're reviewing this later, you might want to know, okay, what's all inside of that 100 feet of this assembly here. This button here will expand the line. It'll show that same view as when we selected it and took it off. It also shows the total quantity of each item based on the quantity taken off, which is pretty cool. So it's a lot of material we took off very quickly. Again, price and labor is built into every part. This is just a group of items. So now we're accounting for material very quickly. We're less likely to miss things. And of course, we've got material costs and hours built in, so we don't ever have to worry about that. Now that we've talked about items and assemblies, a menu to navigate the database, an audit trail to track what we do, I'm going to go ahead and open up the digital plan. So I'm going to click on Pro here in the ribbon. So we call this part of the program Design Estimating Pro. I'm going to select a sheet here in the top left-hand corner. These are all the plans we attached to the job. They're all sitting here waiting for me. The first time you open up a sheet, we're going to tell you to set a scale. Okay, we're not going to let you do any takeoff on it till you set a scale. We do have the ability to hand enter a custom scale. We can also set our own scale off of any known points. So I could use a doorway or a room, or we can just pick from the drop-down list here. So the plan came with 1/8 = 1. I'm just going to pick it from the drop-down list here. Really easy to move around the drawing. I use all mouse control. I zoom in and out with the wheel. I push the wheel down to pan. That works really well for me. I never have to reach for anything to move to a different area of the drawing or to zoom in and out. There's other options on the sides here, but again, I stick to the mouse. Now, if you look closely in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you'll see that there's an active assembly. Assembly number 5020, it's the 4-inch schedule 40 pipe assembly. So that assembly is active on the drawing because that's what I have selected here in the estimating program. I showed you that I can enter in quantities. Again, that's one way to do it. We're not doing it that way anymore. Now we're just clicking on the plan, and you'll see McCormick will take care of the rest. So I'm just going to click here once and click on the end once, and that's it. That blue line represents this assembly. The measurement is recorded here in the estimating program. Again, no extra steps to get it here. It's all in one estimating and takeoff. So no linking or setup required for this. This is how it works for a brand new user. And there you have it. There's the linear measurement. Again, that's 35 feet of this assembly. All the materials accounted for. So now we're really just clicking on a drawing, and McCormick's taking care of the rest. So that's linear takeoff on the drawing. Let me switch to a count. We have some pretty impressive pre-built assemblies here. I'm going to select a water closet assembly. I'm using type L copper for the water, and I'm using PVC for the waste. So the menu took me to this list. I have 3 options to choose from. I want the open front, and this is a water closet rough assembly. This is everything I need to install. This is the waste, the water. This is vent. Everything I need to install. Now, of course, this is one of thousands of pre-built assemblies. They're all customizable to you. You can make changes to existing assemblies, and you can add your own. But I like the way this one's built. I'm happy with it. I'm going to go ahead and click on the drawing. So now we're just pointing and clicking here. You'll see with each click, I'm leaving a mark behind. Once again, that mark represents this assembly that I selected from the estimating program. With each click, I'm getting all the material I need. McCormick is keeping track of the counts and measurements for me. I mentioned we're tracking who took it off, when they took it off, and how they took it off. These lines, again, they're marked with a P. These counts and measurements came from the plan. If you hover over the P, it'll even tell you which sheet it came from. So really a lot of visibility here if you're reviewing someone else's work or even coming back to this later. Now, I do want to show you, let me select a different part. I want a lav, same thing, type L copper, PVC for the waste, wall hung, same deal. I like to leave the side window open. Here's all the parts I get. I do want to point out that the symbols and colors, those are all customizable as well. This shows what's assigned to it. We've given everything a default, so it's ready to go. But you can change this all you want. You can change the symbol, the size, the colors, the width and height. All of that's customizable to you. All right, so pretty simple. Now, we do have a lot of functions here. This is kind of the basics, point and click, count and measure. There's highlighting tools. We can compare drawings to identify changes. There's even this legend we can turn on. This is pretty cool. This is a live legend showing all of the totals. At any point, I can print this plan out, or I can just save it as a PDF. When I do that, it comes out exactly as I see it on the screen. So I can show all the marks and the way I estimated it, the way I took it off, and of course we can have the legend turned on. So again, a lot of visibility here. It's pretty clear what's been accounted for, how it was accounted for, and so on. We've also got some shortcuts like this. This allows me to reactivate parts I've already used. So I can come, I see I missed a couple of labs here. I can easily come back and select that part here. Here's another water closet. I need one of those here. So this just allows me to toggle between material I've already used. Essentially, you never have to find the same part more than once from the estimating program. So pretty nice. There's other shortcuts as well. Again, only so much I can cover in today's 30-minute webinar. But that's the basics. Just pointing and clicking, marking a digital plan. Again, McCormick's taking care of the rest. I'm going to go on to step 4, extension now. So this is a result of everything I did in Takeoff. So of course, this job had some Takeoff on it before we started. So this is going to be the entire material list for the job. And, all the material I took off before I started the webinar, and all the Takeoff we added together today. So this is one big list of material down to the nuts and bolts, every single piece of material we need for the job. Here's the total quantity of the material. And then this is what we're extending by, price, one, and bid labor. That's what my system defaults to, best price, best labor. Of course, I can choose, again, McCormick has multiple levels built in. This is where I can choose different reports, different combinations of price and labor. Maybe I just want a material list right now and that's it. You got reports, other types of reports like that as well. All of these reports are also printable and exportable, just a couple clicks to get it out. If you want to export the material list or print it, you can do that. Now, this is also where we can view a lot of detailed reports in terms of cost code breakdowns, area breakdowns, system breakdowns, whatever the case may be. Again, just kind of sticking to the basics here. While we're here, one last thing I want to point out is that you do have the opportunity to make changes here. So, for example, just this top item here, it's 1.5 inch ABS. 45 cents per foot is the price on this. I'm going to change that. It's 55 cents a foot today. So any changes you make here turn bold, showing you addressed it, and then we recalculate based on that change. So you do have the ability to review things, make changes here. Once we're happy with extension, then we're just moving on to the fifth and final step. So to do that, I'm going to hit send to summary. We're sending to the bid summary, which is the fifth and final step. So all I've sent here is the totals for the base bid. So there it is. This is what I sent here. It's waiting for me: base bid, material cost, hours, and now I'm focused on what we call the top sheet. So I'm going to come back to this. This is going to display all of the job cost totals here by these categories. There's a folder for each of the categories down at the bottom. So I'm going to just work through the folders. As I do that, it's going to update the top sheet with the total amount. All right, here's the labor folder. I'm going to pick from my list of rates here on the left side. Now, of course, this is going to be your list of rates. You're picking from your list. This is my example list. Again, McCormick figured out the hours. I see that here, just over 3,000 hours. I'm going to use 4 different rates. I want this foreman. Let's bring him over. I want this journeyman, bring him over, and I want 2 apprentices, 1 and 2, level 1, level 2. And now I can assign hours to each rate here, or a percentage of the hours here. Of course, I could assign all of these hours to one rate. Some people use like an average or blended rate. I'm using 4 different rates. I assigned 25% of the hours to each rate. Here's the total labor cost for each rate and the hours assigned to it. Bottom right, that's the total labor cost for the job. And again, that's going to show up here on the top sheet automatically. So now we've got the material costs and labor costs covered. The rest of the folders are really just punch-ins. There's a folder here to insert quotes. These are just examples here in the folder. You can always add to the list. Things like fixtures, we take them off in McCormick to account for fixtures. We're only giving you labor on fixtures. That is something you still have to get quoted job to job. This is simply a place where we can insert quoted material dollars as a lump sum. So I'm going to say 5,500 for fixtures. There's a folder for subcontractor expenses. Again, these are just examples. You can always add to the list. I'm subbing out the core drills, $1,200 for that. There's a DJE or direct job expense folder. I'm going to account for permits and fees here, fuel, anything like that, per diem. Equipment cost, I'm going to need a trailer on this job. I need it for maybe I can use I can type in a lump sum amount here. I can also put in like a daily, weekly, monthly rate. Let's just say I pay $250 a week. I can just multiply that out by 3 weeks. I'm going to need this for 3 weeks. There's a folder here showing my example bond table back on the top sheet. I can check a box to use the bond table. McCormick will figure figure out the bond for me based on my table here. The last folder is the tax folder. I've got my tax rate here. Of course, you would have your tax rate. If you do work in different states, you can always, change a job to job, or you can even set up multiple templates with McCormick. Coming back to the top sheet, all of the expenses are covered now. All of these amounts are combined for the raw cost. Here's the tax amount. Here's the raw cost with tax. Essentially, this is what I'm paying to do the job, just over $250,000. Overhead and profit are at zero. The totals will populate here. We do allow you to mark up each category individually. So for example, I'm gonna put 10% overhead on the material amount. It'll show the dollars next to the markup. I'm gonna put 12% profit on top of that. Again, it's gonna show the dollars next to it. I can mark up each one of these job cost categories individually, or if I want the same markup on all categories, I can use these cells down here. All right, so I went ahead and put 10% overhead on everything. Here are the, again, everything's totaled up on the right. So all of these amounts are totaled up for the overhead amount, and then here's the profit total, and then here's the overhead and profit combined. We call it total return in dollars, and then total return percent. Here's the price. The bond's at zero. Here's my sell price without bond. If I want to use the bond table, I'm just going to check this box right here. And you'll see there it is. It's figured out the bond for me based on my table and added it to the sell price. So just a checkbox, we can leave it unchecked if we're not going to use it. From here, just one more thing I want to show you before we wrap this up. We do generate an automatic proposal. Again, one of the great things about McCormick software is the completeness of it. Plan to proposal, it's an all-in-one solution. So outside of the completeness of the programming, the completeness of the database is also a benefit for new clients, and also the ease of use. The way we work through the 5-step process, it's easy to follow. Now, again, just to wrap this up, I'm going to show you how we create an automatic proposal here at the end. I'm going to show you one of my sample templates. You have the ability to create as many of these proposal templates as you want. You can have different ones for different purposes. Job to job, you're going to pick the template you want, like I did here, and then you're going to hit merge. You'll see it gives me the ability to choose which price I'm pulling in, because McCormick can manage multiple prices per job folder, and of course I can bring in multiple prices into this proposal template if I need to, if I'm providing more than one price to the customer. I'm just going to bring in the base bid. When I hit OK, all of the fields populate. So job name, addresses, contact information. There's the sell price for the 149 West Boston job. Again, this is an example template. These proposals can really look however you want them to look in terms of design, format, verbiage, logos. And that is steps 1 through 5. Again, plan to proposal. So just in the last minute or two here, I want to just kick back and see if any questions come through. There is a questions and chat option from the webinar taskbar. So I'm going to hang out here and see if there's any questions. Of course, feel free once again to give us a call, send us an email, reach out anytime if you'd like additional information, if there's questions that we can answer for you. And once again, if you're interested in doing a full demonstration with you, we'd love to do that. Love to have a conversation with you first, just kind of figure out which solution would fit your needs best, and go from there. We can definitely cater the live online demonstration to you and your business and your needs. All right, well, I'm not seeing any questions come through here. So thanks again for joining me for today's webinar, and hope to hear from you soon. Take care.